We now have a gun on every table. We're ready to start shooting.
What the Trump did he just say? Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for another top 10 crazy Donald Trump moments.
You're a nightmare, Mr. Trump.
For this list, we're looking at some of the most cringeworthy, offensive, and downright ignorant moments in Trump's headline-topping presidential campaign.
Trump has been repeatedly accused of stoking racial fears.
If you think we've missed something, be sure to check out our original video on the top 10 crazy Donald Trump moments. For the record, we're not saying he's crazy, but we understand why people think he is, or at least that he's had his share of ridiculous or outrageous moments.
You are the single biggest liar. You probably are worse than Jeb Bush.
Number 10. Trump attempts to be a foreign policy expert.
I'm gonna bomb the shit out of them. It's true. I don't care. I don't care. They've got to be stopped.
When it comes to foreign policy, Trump sounds like that guy in class who skipped the reading and has no idea what he's talking about. Instead of forming an argument, he relies on buzzwords and vague statements to make a point.
Donald Trump is completely uneducated on these issues, and he doesn't understand the post-war new order in post-World War II order in the world.
When all else fails, he goes back to his multi-million-dollar real estate deals that have allegedly given him all the preparation needed to take out ISIS, optimize trading policies, and ensure peace in Israel.
I just sold an apartment for $15 million to somebody from China.
When it comes down to it, building hotels in Mexico has just about as much to do with foreign policy as it has to do with hairstyling, and Trump seems to know very little about either.
I don't wear a toupee. It's my hair. I swear.
Number 9. Trump doesn't get libel.
A book once suggested that Trump might be worth a mere $150 to $250 million, which Trump protested by suing the writer for $5 billion.
When things don't go Trump's way, his first reaction tends to be a lawsuit.
But with me, we fight back. I'll probably sue Rosie because she doesn't tell the facts.
Thanks to freedom of speech, however, his favorite way of expressing hurt feelings doesn't hold water. And publications are free to report on his controversial actions, for now. Some theorize that, as president, he would make efforts to loosen up libel laws, making it easier to sue news organizations printing wrong or bad information about him. Satire and defamatory yet factual news may be off limits according to this warped idea of justice.
Whether it's the school shootings, which are really very prevalent in this country, they seem to be more prevalent in this country.
What's your explanation?
They're just sick people. They are mentally imbalanced.
Maybe the Donald should take some time off from defending the Second Amendment and learn a thing or two about the first one.
So important is our Second Amendment. The politicians are chipping away at it day by day.
Number 8. Trump suggests banning Muslims from entering the U.S.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what the hell is going on.
This is where it gets really, really bad. A lot of Trump's success on the campaign trail can be attributed to his ability to spread fear and hysteria among followers.
I watched in Jersey City, New Jersey, where thousands and thousands of people were cheering as that building was coming down.
He took this to a whole new level when he suggested banning all Muslims from entering the U.S. He then defended his statement by saying his Muslim friends support the plan.
And I have many, many friends who are Muslim, and they're great people, and they actually, some of them, not all of them, I will tell you, some of them aren't so thrilled with what I said, but many of them called me and they said, you know, Donald, you're right, we have a problem.
The overwhelming majority of Muslims condemn extremist views, and his plan doesn't have any concrete strategy outlined to stop terrorism. But all that seems to matter to Trump is that his name is the first thing you read in the news every morning.
But Jimmy, there's something happening out there. There's hatred. You look at what's going on. Look at Paris and look at look what happened in Los Angeles just recently.
Number 7. Trump states terrorists' families should be killed.
You have to take out their families. When you get these terrorists, you have to take out their families.
Trump has already shown himself to be a fearmonger that doesn't seem to understand the first thing about foreign policy. including violating the tenets of the Geneva Convention by claiming that taking out terrorists' families is an effective and permissible way to defeat ISIS.
They then came to me, what do you think of whatever? I said, it's fine. And if we want to go stronger, I'd go stronger too.
Trump never misses an opportunity to throw out a buzzword. And he rationalized his sentiments by suggesting that political correctness is to blame.
We can't worry about being politically correct. We just can't afford anymore to be so politically correct.
The notion that he's the only candidate suggesting these policies because no one else condones murdering law-abiding citizens doesn't seem to have crossed his mind.
And what would you do in those cities where there are people who we are trying to help, who ISIS is essentially holding hostage?
You have to go in. First of all, when you take away their money, when you take away their wealth, that'll very much weaken, and it'll happen fairly fast.
Number 6. Trump fails to disavow former KKK Grand Wizard in CNN interview.
I don't know anything about David Duke, okay? I don't know anything about what you're even talking about with white supremacy or white supremacists. So I don't know.
When a former KKK Grand Wizard endorses your candidacy, you generally don't accept his or her support. That just goes without saying. Trump, who's been called out for racism on many occasions, should understand that an endorsement tied directly to the KKK isn't something you should be proud of. His response during a 2016 CNN interview was predictably preposterous, and a faulty earpiece was conveniently blamed for the political gaffe thereafter.
I'm sitting in a house in Florida with a very bad earpiece that they gave me, and you could hardly hear what he was saying.
However, a more reasonable explanation may be that Trump didn't want to disenfranchise his racist followers.
Trump even cited the one-time Grand Wizard as the reason he wouldn't run on the Reform Party ticket in 2000.
You've got David Duke just joined. A bigot, a racist, a problem.
Number 5. Trump makes incest-like remarks about daughter.
Donald is very happy with his lovely wife, insert name here.
Let's take a break from the outrageously offensive and look at a moment that was just downright creepy. It's perfectly normal to acknowledge the beauty of your daughter. Suggesting you would date her if you weren't related is a whole different story. And Trump did just that during a 2006 interview on The View.
Although she does have a very nice figure. I've said that if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. You know.
This was back during a time when Trump's opinions were less controversial and more amusing. The Donald was unapologetic as ever and left us asking the ever-popular question, did Trump just say that? Yes, he did. And it wasn't the first time he'd make those kind of remarks, as demonstrated by this clip from The Daily Show featuring an interview Trump did in the 90s, in which he made reference to the legs and potential breasts of his then-baby daughter with then-wife Marla Maples.
She's got Marla's legs. We don't know whether or not she's got this part yet.
Number 4. Trump has love-hate relationship with Megyn Kelly.
You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
Trump is no fan of Fox News, and there's one journalist in particular that he absolutely hates.
Your Twitter account has several disparaging comments about women's looks. You once told a contestant on Celebrity Apprentice it would be a pretty picture to see her on her knees.
After being allegedly targeted by moderator Megyn Kelly during a GOP debate, Trump insinuated that Megyn's menstrual cycle was to blame for her temperament.
You know, you could see there was blood coming out of her eyes. Blood coming out of her wherever.
A string of angry tweets and statements followed, and their ongoing feud prompted Trump's decision to boycott a Fox debate.
You have to stick up for your rights. You can't let people do that to you.
This seems to demonstrate that Donald has focused a ton of time and energy on his feud with Kelly instead of other presidential candidates, suggesting that being the bigger person isn't a part of his political strategy.
It's been sort of a surreal 6 months because we never anticipated that anybody would react to the questions in that particular way.
Number 3, Trump suggests that he has a big member.
That's right. Donald Trump just talked about his dick during a presidential debate. A dick which I presume looks like a Cheeto with a cheese dust rubbed on.
Political debates are a great platform to discuss your qualifications for office. These could include what foreign policy experience you have, how well you can perform under pressure, and how big your Lyndon B. Johnson is.
And he referred to my hands. If they're small, something else must be small. I guarantee you there's no problem. I guarantee.
Trump focused on the latter during one debate, alleging that political opponent Marco Rubio's attacks on his hand size were also an attack on something else down below the border.
That's why I don't understand why his hands are the size of someone who's 5'2". Have you seen his hands? They're like this. And you know what they say about men with small hands?
It does make one wonder if he's overcompensating, though. And perhaps it's only a matter of time before the people demand answers.
You're running for president of the United States.
Excuse me. I didn't start it.
Okay,
I didn't start it.
But sir, with all due respect, that's the argument of a 5-year-old.
I didn't start it.
Number 2, Trump kicks people out of his rallies. Trump rallies have garnered a notorious reputation for violence. A number of protesters that have attended his many rallies have been escorted out by security on more than one occasion. In one notable instance, 78-year-old John McGraw punched a supposedly non-violent African-American protester at a rally while said protester was being escorted out.
Yes, he deserved it. The next time we see him, we might have to kill him.
Trump then made matters worse when he openly considered paying McGraw's legal fees.
78 years old. He obviously loves this country, and maybe he doesn't like seeing what's happening to the country.
Despite all this, protesters continue to come out of the woodwork, which has even led to the cancellation of a rally in Chicago after violence broke out among Trump supporters and protesters. Before we unveil our number 1 pick, here are some honorable, or in this case dishonorable, mentions.
You know, I could say, they'd say you don't cure, as an example, child molester. You don't cure these people. You don't cure a child molester. But you take this little beautiful baby and you pump, I mean, it looks just like it's meant for a horse, not for a child. And we've had so many instances.
2 Corinthians, right? 2 Corinthians 3:17. That's the whole ball game.
He's not a war hero.
He's a war hero.
He's a war hero.
5.5 years.
He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay? And all of that money will go to great charities,
And
including Sandy victims.
if he doesn't pay?
Oh, then I'll sue him.
Number 1, Trump claims he'll build a Great Wall and make Mexico pay for it.
I will build a great wall on our southern border, and I will have Mexico pay for that wall.
This speech set so much in motion, most notably by permanently changing Trump from the harmless, cartoonish billionaire to the provocative politician in many people's eyes. While Trump has spouted anti-Muslim rhetoric in the past, he had some less than kind words to say about Mexico during his campaign announcement speech.
They're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with us. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people.
And yet, Trump inexplicably expects to win the Latino vote, despite his insinuation that Mexico is full of rapists and criminals.
And I'll tell you something, if I get the nomination, I'll win the Latino vote. I will win it because I'm going to create jobs.
Worse still, his strategy to stop illegal immigration sounds like something an elementary schooler would come up with.
I would build a great wall, and nobody builds walls better than me, believe me.
Unfortunately, America has no way of building a wall around Trump. But if they do, it's only fitting that he should have to pay for it.
And the wall just got 10 feet taller, believe me.
Do you agree with our list? Which huge Donald Trump moments got you talking?
And it's very close to my heart because I was down there and I watch our police and our firemen down on 7-Eleven, down at the World Trade Center right after it came down.
For more interesting and controversial top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.
Immigrants on the whole
Come on, try getting it out. Try getting it out.
I'll get it out.
I mean, I don't know if you're going to put this on television, but you don't even know what you're talking about. Try getting it out. Go ahead.